here today with several of my colleagues from around the country to bring you an inside look at a trio of Senate races that will help determine which party controls the United States Senate for the final 2 years of President Joe Biden's term. We're going to start today in Georgia. We have a very hot Senate race here between Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock, who faces a tough re-election challenge from Republican Herschel Walker. It's been a tight race throughout, but the headlines this week have been dominated by Mr. Walker and a story alleging that he paid for an abortion of a girlfriend more than a decade ago.
This was Herschel Walker's first event since those reports came out that not only had he purportedly paid for this abortion, but also the woman involved had another child with Herschel Walker.
Biden and Raphael Warnock has hurt Georgian families on everything from safety, groceries, and gas. And when Senator Warnock took office,
but Herschel Walker is continuing to say that these stories are fabrications, they are made up. He is adamant in saying that this is not something that is factual. And he really is trying to deflect and take attention away from what has become sort of the biggest narrative in this campaign right now.
Republicans are kind of loath to say anything about it publicly. Privately, they admit that it's bad news. They are trying to muddle through, though. They're trying to keep pushing. No one wants to give up with Senate control so narrowly divided that this one election could make a big difference.
And we're going to move now across the country to Arizona. It's another Senate race where a Democratic incumbent, Mark Kelly, faces a very tough re-election fight. It comes from Blake Masters, a Republican who's more in the mold of former President Donald Trump.
The fundamental dynamic in this race is really you've got a popular Democrat against a Republican who's wounded coming out of the primary and trying to reinvent himself. And the polls consistently show, a small but distinct lead for Kelly, who's been able to sort of build a brand a little bit more independent of Joe Biden, of the Democratic Party, in a state that, has long been Republican and is turning a lot more purple.
They declare a national emergency, right? They mobilize the National Guard. Well, Yuma gets 50 every hour. Yuma gets 1,000 a day. We're getting smashed over here. We're getting killed.
And to compound matters for Masters, he just doesn't have the money to keep up with the Democrats. Mark Kelly is one of the most prolific fundraisers ever in the United States Senate. He's just raising money hand over fist, which allows him to really push his narrative of what he wants this race to be about.
So we're going to move from the Southwest to the chilly fall Northeast to New Hampshire. There are plenty of interesting races there, including an incumbent senator, Democrat Maggie Hassan, who is a former governor and now is seeking re-election to her post in Washington. She faces a challenge from a bit of a surprise Republican nominee, Don Baldock.
Yes, so New Hampshire, you have Maggie Hassan and the two House candidates as well, all Democratic incumbents, all facing Republican challengers who come from the Donald Trump wing of the party.
In order to ensure we can hold President Biden accountable.
That leaves sort of an interesting dynamic. You have Donald Trump, who won the New Hampshire primary in 2016, but did not carry the state in the general election that year or in 2020. So Republican voters have to make this choice. They rejected Donald Trump, but now their Republican candidates are from his wing of the party.